Okay, welcome back. I have knitted the rows that I want, and now I'm going to take off my 10.75 needles and replace them. And yes, unfortunately, I am not lucky enough to have more of these particular cubics. I have to say, in all of my research and all of my trying new needles and stuff, I am absolutely 100% in love with the Nova Cubics, which are Knitter's Pride needles. I have not yet tried the Collage Yarns Square needles, but I don't believe they have interchangeable sets. So if I do, I'll probably try them in a double pointed if I'm ever able to at some point. But I do have a thing for the cubics, so where I'm not going to be using the Nova cubics, which are the metal cubics. I'm going to be using the regular cubics, which are a wooden tip. But I've switched to number 10, US 10, which is a 6 millimeter. So I've gone from a 7 millimeter tip to a 6 millimeter tip. And this is probably one of the reasons I love interchangeables so much, is if my pattern says to change needle sizes, I'm not having to fiddle around with all kinds of different needles. I'm just change the tips and the cables stay the same, and it's not fiddly and wonky and irritating. And anyway, so now that I've changed my tips, I'm just going to work in a rib pattern. If you've not done a rib pattern before, it's really simple. I can say that for my slipper socks, if I'm using a number 5 or a number 6 yarn, I do a 1x1 rib, which means knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. If I'm using worsted weight or sport weight, I do a 2x2 rib, which is knit 2, purl 2. And then if I'm using anything lighter than a sport weight, I usually do 3 or 4. Knit 3, purl 3, knit or 4, depending. Because the smaller the yarn gets, the harder it is to even know you have ribbing, because it'll just literally vanish into your fabric. But at least use 2 when you're at worsted or lower. And so I'm going to try this. Hopefully you can see. So I'm going to knit 1, and in this weight yarn, purl 1, and knit 1, and then purl 1, and just continue in this fashion for as many rows as you want or need it to be. I'm not ready to bind off, but when I do bind off, I'm going to bind off in pattern, and I'm going to use a stretchy bind off. So I'm going to pretend, just for a moment, that I've already done ribbing, and I haven't. You know I haven't, because you just saw me start my ribbing. I'm going to pretend I've done my ribbing, just so I can show you the stretchy bind off. So to do the stretchy bind off, if I can get my camera to behave itself, and my needles. So what you're going to do is, before you're going to yarn over before you knit, okay? And then you're going to pull that yarn over your first stitch. That's all you're going to do, and you're going to pull that yarn over. And then your purl, you're going to yarn over the other way. Remember, yarn over, not under this time, I think it is. Anyway, and then you're going to purl off, but you're going to take those two loops off of that stitch. And then you're going to yarn over again, and you're going to knit. and then you're going to take two loops off of the needles. So you have to, if you yarn over, or under, anyway, it is a yarn over. So if you yarn over for knit, yarn under for purl. So if you add that extra yarn, it creates a stretchy bind off, which for socks is pretty vitally important. My first pair I didn't know that I ever made, I didn't know about this stretchy bind off, and this part, the bind off part, was super tight and impossible to get on the foot, and then the other part of the foot was perfect size for my husband, but he couldn't get his foot in because of the bind off, but I could get my foot in, but the sock was too big, so that bind off just doesn't work. So be sure to do the stretchy bind off, and I'll show you that again. So for purl stitch, you're going to put the yarn from front to back over the loop, and then you're going to purl like normal, and then you're going to take the yarn over off, and you're going to take the previous stitch off. And then for knit, you're going to yarn under that way, back to front, and then you're going to knit normal, and then pull your stitches off one at a time. Now, you can pull the stitches off two at a time. It can be done, and I have done it, but not well. And not when you're first starting. What ends up happening is you lose it. But if you'll notice, what this does is it almost gives the height of 2 stitches. But definitely is a super stretchy bind off compared to a normal knit bind off. So that's how we'll bind off. I may do another video, but I won't be able to do it today, and I did not want you to have to wait on me to finish your socks. So do your knit 1, purl 1 stitches over and over and over for however many rows that you wish it to be, and then do your stretchy bind off. And I will hopefully get to do another video with much better lighting on all of these processes, and I'll do it using the next sock that I need to make, since obviously it requires two socks to be a pair. So that's what we'll do next, or I'll do next for you. I am going to try to get another video for the other work, if you're working on the other knit along, trying to get another one of those done today as well. So happy knitting!